Okay, so let's look at number 15 here on Module 2, section or practice test 4. And let's write out this equation. We know the equation is 4x squared plus bx minus 45 is equivalent to hx plus k times x plus j, right? And so and it's asking, ultimately, this question is asking about which one of the answer choices is an integer, right? And so remember, an integer is a whole number, like -1, 0, 1, on the sort. So not a decimal, not a fraction, not an irrational number, anything like that. The keyword, one of the keywords it says in here, it says that b is a constant. So a constant doesn't necessarily mean it's an integer, right? And so if you look at answer choices A and B, it says it's got b over h and b over k. And since we don't know that b is an integer and it could be a constant, it's going to eliminate those two answer choices for consideration, okay? So let's kind of go through and see a little bit more about what they're doing here. So if we FOIL the right-hand side out, we're going to end up with hx squared plus jhx plus kx plus kj. And we're pattern matching this to the other side, which we know is 4x squared plus bx minus 45. Well, it's understood here that 4 is equivalent to h, right? And so we now know that we have that information, that 4 is equivalent to h. So let's simplify the right-hand side a little bit more. So we now know 4x squared plus, but we can factor out, and leave the x in. So we can say, now this can read as JH, or sorry, actually 4J now, because we know H is 4, so that's 4J plus K, right, times X. So we factored out the J and the H and the K here, and then we left the X behind, right, and plus KJ. So looking at this, we now know that 4 is equivalent to H. We know and so that is the A term. The B term here is equivalent to B for this left-hand side, right? And then for the right-hand side, it's equivalent to 4J plus K, right? And then the C here is equivalent to -45, and along within that, we know that is equivalent to the product of K and J, right? So we know this segment here is equivalent to K and J. Now let's back up for a second, right? So if we look at answer choices B here, B is suggesting 45 over H. Well, if we already know that it's not A and B because we understood that B could possibly be not a integer, it can be a constant term or an irrational term too. So it could be a decimal, fraction, or irrational term. So that eliminates A and B. But we also know that now this is 45 over 4, which gives me 11.25. Well, that's not an integer. So that means C is gone. And so by default, we know that D is the answer choice we're looking here. But to further prove this, we know that these two are connected. And so if we say -45 is equivalent to K and J, and we see the K over here, if we divide by K, right, we now have -45 is over K. Well, it tells us in the question, right, that H and J and K are all integers, right? Well, if J is an integer here, right, so if it's telling me that that J is an integer, right, then this has to be an integer as well, which if it's -45 over K or +45 over K, it still has to yield an integer term, right? So say k is 45. Well, that would just give me -1, or if this was 45, so that would give me 1, or this would give me -1. They're both still integers, so therefore D is the answer choice we're looking for on this one. Okay, number 16, what we see here is y equals -1.5, and we see y equals x squared plus 8x plus a here, right? And so again, it tells us in the given equation system equation, a is a positive constant. The system has exactly one distinct real solution. So that again is talking about the discriminant here. And mentioned before that SAT has fallen in love with this discriminant concept. And so we know b squared minus 4ac equals 0 here. We want to bolt these things together. So x squared minus 8x plus a equals -1.5. Move that over. So x squared minus 8x plus 8, or a, plus 1.5 equals 0. So now we know the a term here is 1, the b term here is -8, and the c term here is a plus 1.5. So we're just plugging these values in. So -8 squared minus 4 times 1 times a plus 1.5 equals 0. Over here I'm going to get 64 minus 4a minus 4 times 1.5 is what going to give me 6 minus 6 equals 0, right? And so as I plug that in, that's going to give me 60. Actually, sorry, that's going to give me 58 minus 4. Actually, let's go ahead and move that over. Move that over, so that's going to give me equals 4a divided by 4, right? And so what does that give me? 1. It's asking for the value of a here, so that's going to be 1. And then that's going to give me 18, so that's going to give me 4. And then what I want to get, 4.5. I believe that's the answer that I'm going to get for this one. Yeah, so there we go, 14.5.